Hello everyone, my name is Maxim VDW, and today in this tutorial I will be creating a hub scoreboard. So hub scoreboards are like a scoreboard you use on your hub server to show various information about your other servers or to show some basic statistics about the server itself. But usually when people start to create a hub scoreboard, they put way too much information on it, or they put like a few lines on it with non-animating text, which actually your hub scoreboard has to be your most fancy scoreboard. The hub scoreboard will be the first thing players see when they join your server. So today in this tutorial, I will create some things. I will actually try to create a cool looking hub scoreboard. Um, I didn't script this, so I'm not sure what I'm going to make. I'm using FeatherBoard version 2.14 here. And I am currently running a small bungeecord server with a few smaller servers, and currently they only have FeatherBoard running. So when you first start the plugin, this is the default scoreboard. You have like some scrolling text, you have the player name, and that's basically it. It shows some server information, but you shouldn't include all that information for a hub scoreboard. So let's dive into the configuration. Let's zoom in here. So the first thing you have to do is checking the configuration. So the language file, we leave that to English for now. You can create your own language file. Debug mode, turn it off. Log to file, I wouldn't recommend it for now. So for now I'm going to turn it off because it's a hub server and I expect like a few thousand players every hour. So I'm going to turn that off. Update checking, very recommended, especially for hub servers because they are the most, because most bug fixes for FeatherBoard are for hub servers or for bugs that can be caused by a lot of players joining. Placeholders, log memory, no, clear unused, yes. So like it won't load all placeholders into the memory. Tweaks. So this is something where you can tweak a bit. So this option does not send the scoreboard remove packets to the client on quit. This can increase performance on server where players quit a lot. So if you have a server where the lobby is like a very small portion of the whole bungeecord experience, they just join it to let's say use AudMe or another authentication plugin, then I would recommend to turn this to true. So it will keep the scoreboard. It's a very small performance tweak, but on some servers it can mean a lot. Then disabled words, we don't need this for now. Show delay, very important, especially for hub servers. If you have like a title MOTD showing, it won't obstruct the view. But also for hub servers, if a lot of players join, it can be laggy sometimes. Not lag caused by FeatherBoard, but lag caused by all the entities loading. So I recommend putting this to 5 ticks. Default, it's already 5 ticks, so it already takes around 250 milliseconds after joining that the scoreboard will appear. But this will add an additional 5 ticks. Anti-flicker, yes. And then it's time to create some cool looking animations. So default, I have like the manual created glow effect with some delays. We leave that for now. We're going to first create a header. So you don't need to call this first part title. So I'm going to quickly explain what these are. For my for this hub server, I'm just going to keep the default scoreboard. I'm not going to rename it or add additional scoreboards. So we start with default. This is what everyone sees. Under default, you have specific frame groups. So these are groups, these are actually the lines. Like this is a line title, this is a line header, and you can call them whatever you like. For example, you could call this like blah blah, and it would work. So each of these parts are lines. They are specific lines. Inside those parts, you have the frames. Like a line can have different frames for their animation. For example, for the title, for the top, for the top part, has a few lines, a few frames that create the animation effect. For example, the player label, which is the player you see here, with the arrow and the yellow player, it doesn't animate, so it's only one frame in that element. So that's very important. If you understand that, then you can create anything you want. So these things like the footer, the server label, you can call it whatever you want as long as it's a unique thing. We start with the header. So the header currently I have like the waves thing, but it's very boring. So I'm going to try and create something else. Let's start with some minus tokens, and I think the color code for a strikeout is M. I'm not sure. Let's test this out. FeatherBoard reload. Yes, it is. Let's add a color. What color do I like? Well, actually, I like yellow. It's actually my favorite color, so I'm going to make a yellow. I need to put this before. So I'm going to make this yellow thing. Let's make sure that you don't exceed the maximum amount of characters. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay. We need a few more like this. Let's check it out. So this already looks cooler, but we need something on the edges of the header. So let's try. Well, I'm not sure what I could put on the sides. Maybe like a green plus. It's actually very. They always use the plus sign for things like this. Yeah, let's try this. I'm not sure. So this isn't scripted, so I'm actually not sure what I'm creating. Okay, let's add the same thing on the other side. Okay, FeatherBoard reload. Okay, I think I exceeded my maximum amount of characters. That's not good. Nope, still not. Nope. .av. Okay. Okay, but this is actually too small. So I'm going to leave the plus tokens. I'm just going to keep the yellow line. It's actually cool enough. It's not like I need those plus tokens. Okay, and so the board is actually very wide. So actually it's good that it's a bit shorter line. Okay, so that's the line. Next, I'm going to remove everything under that. So I'm going to remove all this, delete. I'm going to copy this to here. So it's the same, maybe a different, no, I'm going to keep it the same color. So this is a very basic board now. I'm going to remove this as well for now. Test, we will change it afterwards. Let's rename this back to title. Okay. And now it's time to choose what information you wish to add to the scoreboard. So I have two servers running on the bungeecord, and one other server is offline. So I'm going to check what the names are. I'm going to my bungeecord configuration. Okay, and they are called lobby, test, and test2. Currently I am on the lobby server, so test and test2 will be the servers I will be working on. Now it's time to look up the placeholder and effect page. So there are two wiki pages. You have the mvdw effects and mvdw placeholders. And these are two important web pages you should definitely bookmark. So the effect wiki page shows preset effects. These are effects you could create, or most of them you could create manually, but these allow you to create them with just a single line. So we have the glow effect, which is a very cool effect, but it's a bit overused. You have the translate effect to translate things, the rainbow effect, blink effect, scroll effect, wave effect, and actually now I think of it, I'm going to make my header more fancy. I'm going to surround it with rainbows, like this. Rainbow, rainbow, over the rainbow. Okay, like this. Remove the yellow color because else it won't change the color. And let's speed up the animation with 2 ticks, which is fast enough. Okay, let's check it. This looks cool. This looks like a flashing header line and header footer line. So this looks cool. So that's something. These are some cool effects. There are a lot more, like rounding things, getting the length of a string or placeholder, padding, getting the result of a URL, striping the colors. Well, a lot of effects. But this is the main page, like the page with all the placeholders. And I'm going to check for bungeecord placeholders. So I have this. This is the bungeecord total player count. So it gives some information. Bungee count at server here. And then to get the current server name, like use this. I want to display the amount of players on my test and test2 server. So to do this, I will just create another element, and I will call it server. Oh, I'm having some tab issues with GML. Okay, let me configure this real quick. Preferences, steps, convert to space. Okay, sorry about that. Server test. And the frames for it, I'm just going to leave it empty for now. Interval, let's refresh it every 20 ticks. It isn't random, so just leave it like that. Oh, just leave it like this. And then I'm going to, well, let's make it like a gray color, like, I'm not sure what gray is. I actually don't know all color codes by head. That's not good, right? So I'm going to just type test server, and then I'm going to maybe, what should I do? Oh, I'm just going to write test server here. Then I create a new element, server test2, text test server 2, interval also 20 ticks, random false. Let's reload. This will just show 2 lines, nothing special. So I'm thinking of what color I will create these two things in, these two lines. Well, actually, I have a better idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the color depending on if the server is online or not. I'm going to make it green or red. So to do this, I'm going to use the ping placeholder. Oh, this would cause a lot of paper if I try to print this. So the pinger placeholders is online at, and then the IP address. So to do this, I'm going to check what the IP addresses are. Test 25567. Okay, so is online localhost 25564. I actually forgot. 6767. Okay, 67. Then for server test 2, I'm going to do the same. 68, I guess. Yeah, 68. But if I refresh this, you will see what will happen. Okay, it will put like online and offline in front of it. So to remove this, these are like settings of the placeholders. You go back to your FeatherBoard configuration, then to placeholders, and then there should be Placeholder Pinger. If I open this, I can choose what I put here. So I'm just going to remove the online and offline text with the bold because I don't need the bold. And now it will just show when true, green, when false, red. Or maybe, yeah, well, when false, red. Okay, if I reload again, it should show test server in green and test server in red because the test server 2 is offline. Okay, so I'm going to start my test server 3, yeah, test 2, sorry, getting mixed up here. Server 4, I'm going to start this, and it should change the color once it pinged the server, but currently it's still offline, it's still booting. But as you can see now, it's green because it's, well, you can't, players should be able to ping it now, and that's why it's showing green. So that's already a cool looking feature. You can now have on your hub server showing what server is online or not. But you also want to show the player count. So to do this, I'm going back to my placeholder and I have the bungee count thing. The bungee count. And this allows you to show the maximum amount of players, the amount of players on a specific server on your bungeecord network. So I'm going to get the player count of at test, I think at test, and then the player count at test 2. And I'm going to put it in like those square brackets to make it more visible. Test, and I'm going to just rename this test 2. Okay, maybe add a space here to align them. Reload. Well, actually, I'm going to put it in front. It's because currently I have like the alignment issue. I don't really like it, so I'm going to put this in front. Well, the thing is with Minecraft fonts, it doesn't align. Like if you have one character extra on a specific line and you try to put a space on the other line, it won't align exactly the same. So that's something to look out for. Going to reload, and it shows that there are 0 players on server test and server test 2. So I'm going to create my alternative, start up my alt account here. Okay, go back to here. I'm also going to start working on the title once while this one is starting up. Okay, start play. I'm going to, well, to make it easier for me, I'm just going to use the glow effect because, well, I'm actually a bit too tired, too lazy to create some cool looking effects right now. And I'm going to create a glow effect of my server, and I'm going to call my server, well, simply FeatherBoard, just to make it easy. But at the end, I'm going to put like, I actually don't know all my color codes. FeatherBoard parse. What's the color code for some gray thing? Well, Google to the answer. Minecraft color codes. I'm actually ashamed I have to search for this. Yeah, it's 6 and 7, or it is 7 and 8. Yes, 7 and 8. Sorry, I forgot. So 8 this, and I'm just going to use the total player count on my bungeecord network. So if I reload, it should show 1. Oh, my board is a bit too big. I'm going to change that here. Okay, so as you can see, this is a clear example because with the bold text and all the different colors, my title is actually a bit too long. So it's like cutting off once it reaches the center of the glow effect. So I'm going to try to reduce the length of my glow effect by removing the bold. So to do this, I'm going to just copy paste this, and I'm going to create it manually. Okay. So normal glow, just remove the L, just remove also the italic, remove this, and this should hopefully be enough. Well, it's enough, but the colors are, well, ugly. Start glow color. Okay, now it's time to be fancy. What color should we use? I'm going to use like a starting color of, well, do we still have our color codes here? Let's use the color code B and then 3 as the middle thing. Yeah, I'm going to create something fancier. Just look, this will look as fancy as hell. Normal color F. This should be a nice looking glow effect, I guess. Yeah. Okay, the total player count is not really visible, so I'm going to make that a bit lighter. Okay. Meanwhile, our test account has been started. I'm going to join my development server. I'm not sure. And as you can see already, it shows that there's one player playing on server test. And if I join server test 2, oh, well, okay. Well, I'm not going to join server test 2. But as you can see, it shows that there are totally of 2 players, and there's one player on the test server and another player on test 2, and 0 players on test 2. And if I would be closing the test 2 server, it will be red. So now it should be red any second. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, and it shows the server is offline. So these 2 lines contain quite a lot of information in a very compact scoreboard.